made probably over 500 records of like Beastie Boys, Howling Wolf. I mean, you know, you name it. I probably painted, you know, a record, and to the point where I was like, I'm not painting any more records. But that's how I survived for, you know, quite a few years. Hi, I'm Patricia Rodriguez. I'm an artist based in Dallas, Texas.
How did you get involved or started with art?
From a very young age, I just knew that I wanted to be an artist. You could not get me out of the dining room where I was drawing at the table, scribbling. You know, I always had to be very active, you know, making something. So I got started early on, just, you know, drawing all the time. And then I went to middle school, which was W.E. Griner. And they have an academy there where they devote some time to classes where you can learn art, jewelry, printmaking, stuff like that. And so I took those classes fully knowing that I wanted to get into Arts Magnet because my sister went there. And her room just had like paintings and all kinds of great stuff in it. It was real fun. And so I was like, you know, that's what I want to do. I just felt early on that that's what I wanted to do. So that's how I got started. It was in me.
And what kind of stuff were you drawing before you went into art school? What kind of things were you drawn to draw?
Things that little kids draw. Unicorns, horses, you know, flowers, you know, princesses, you know, things that little girls would draw. And then when I went to, you know, like high school probably is when I started getting to like skulls and like skeletons and more heavy metal looking imagery and stuff like that. It's kind of funny just to see how your tastes change over time, you know, from princesses and unicorns to like, you know, monsters. But and then totally flipped all that when I started my own path, and now it's back to flowers. So, you know, it's just like you're gonna go through so many sections of your life that are just like, you know, different. Just explore everything. Right. You don't know where you're gonna end up or even what your tastes are gonna be when you get older, you know. Yeah, and like sometimes, I mean, I'll take commissions and I'm like, I don't want to do that. But then I find myself liking it and even incorporating that into my own stuff later on.
Really?
You know, yeah, so it's just like, it's really just about the act of creating and seeing where it takes you, just being open-minded to seeing where that journey takes you. Yeah, that's what kind of formulates, I think, your artwork.
Let's talk a little bit about your artwork. So, what all do you, I can see a painting behind you.
Yeah.
So obviously you paint, but you know, do you still draw? Do you?
You know, I don't draw as much, which is something that I need to get back into because it's really good to keep your eye-hand coordinating and looking. And but the stuff that I paint now is mostly nature inspired, almost 100%. And it's more like to remind people to look at the world that they're in. I mean, we are so like involved in our phones and technology and video games and all the other stimulus that we aren't really living in our world and paying attention to nature, conservation, animals, you know, just our planet. So my work is like, it's nature, it's very contemporary, it's very bright, it's very energetic, but it's really just to like, bam, like you need to like open your eyes and be here, you know, like in your world.
To be present.
Yeah, to be present. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome thing, and I love that. You know.
Yeah, it's kind of a Zen thinking, like mindfulness and being here, because this is like the most powerful moment you have. This moment we don't have yesterday, we don't have tomorrow, we have right now. So be here, you know, conscious of what you're doing.
I love that.
Yeah.
And would you say that, you know, kind of informs, you know, you, because you have a lot of interests and you do a lot of different things, you know, do you think, you know, just trying to do that is a way to, you know, make sure you're making the best use of the time?
Totally, yeah. So back in 2010, I suffered it was actually 2009. I suffered a back injury and I wasn't able to walk. Oh. I wasn't able to work, you know, and it was just like a weird time where you're just like learning, oh, I'm a human. And this is what it feels like to be 80 years, you feel like an 80-year-old all of a sudden. You can't skateboard, you can't, you know, do things. So when I recovered from all that and got over all that, you know, crisis, for me it was just like every day is like, wow, you can walk. You know, very appreciative, very full of gratitude that for little things like breathing, walking, you know, being alive and able to get in my studio and paint. So yeah, I try to just like do those things. If you can do them, do those things, because lots of people can't. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about, what all the different media in which you work.
Okay. Well, so I want to say like I'm mainly a painter, and so I'll use like spray paint and acrylics mainly. For work, you have to do that, like professional. I do like artisanal work, so it's gilding, restoration of antique sort of stuff, faux finishing, making things like old look new, new look old, So I get to use all kinds of, paints and chemicals and things to achieve that. But in my work, it's mainly acrylics and spray paint. And then aside from painting, I do music also. And for me, that was like a dual personality thing. So I had music and I had painting. And really to be good at something, you have to choose one. You can be 50% with that and 50% with that, but then you won't be great, at one thing. So I chose, after doing bands and getting all my kicks out of that, then I chose artwork as my career. That's not to say that I still don't do music or want to do music. It's just that that's back burner, and hopefully I fit that in somewhere else. But I was playing bass. And since my love of music is so big, I try to DJ when I can to just spread that, joy of music to everyone else. So I do that on the side also.
Let's talk about your DJ.
Okay.
So, tell us, what your DJ name is, and then, what your style of spinning is.
So I go by the name DJ Tigerbee, and that was just kind of like I'm not really sure where that name came from, but it was more like a little cute, almost Japanese sounding cartoon name. I was really into like anime and like kung fu movies and stuff like that. Like I love that stuff. And so I just wanted something fun and not serious. So DJ Tigerbee, it stuck. It kind of filtered into my art. So my actual website's called it's called Tigerbee Arts. So Tigerbee is like kind of all over my life now. But I started doing these like 60s themed events like back in the early 2000s. And I was DJing like psychedelic music and 60s pop, rock and, stuff like that. And I would have like go-go girls, and I turned into like an art event. So I started putting up like 60s inspired art and films. We had like the oil wheel projections going. We made it a whole experience because Dallas didn't have anything like that. And so I was like, just make fun, have some fun. And so and we'd have bands play, and I was booking bands all of a sudden, which I don't recommend. But so that's how I got into DJing. And then from there, it was just like I started DJing other stuff that I liked. So like reggae, punk, hip hop if I feel like it, or whatever. So I'm just like I love music, and I love all kinds of music. So you just never know what you're going to hear when you come to my DJ night.
What would you say would be your favorite? Like if someone was paying you to play whatever you wanted.
Oh gosh.
What would you?
It's so hard. I have a big love of soul music, and that's probably what I have most of. So probably be soul, but I love reggae. I really do. So many people don't like it, but I'm like, how? It's such a good vibes. Like, how can you not like reggae? But no, yeah, it would be like probably reggae, soul, something like that. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. It's so happy.
Yeah, it is happy. Yeah, it's like you can't be down when you're listening to reggae.
No. No, you can't.
Yeah.
No, I love it too.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Cool.
So let's talk a little bit about the music that you played and the bands that you were in.
Okay.
And you were talking actually, I want to go back a little bit when you were talking about the art that you were making, and as a teenager, how that kind of changed with the music.
Right.
You
Yeah.
kind of almost hinted like you're like heavy metal and getting in skulls.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the music you were getting into as a teen, and then how that affected the art you were creating.
Okay. So, when I was a teenager, I was into punk, new wave, all the things that you're into as a teenager. Angsty kind of music, very moody. The Cure was my favorite band, and I still have all their posters rolled up in the studio somewhere. And So the imagery that I was painting was like, gothy girls, skeletons, spiders, stuff like that. Very dark. But that's good because that's what's in you, and then you need to like purge that out. And that's what art is about. It's about purging what's inside you. And that's your life, is like, the stuff you're listening to, Iron Maiden, skeletons or whatever. And then as I got older, my tastes, I won't say evolved or just expanded. And cause when you're a teenager and you're a punk rocker, it is not cool to say you like the Beatles. So, but later I'm like, Beatles are great, like Cream. I love Cream. I love 60s bands. I love rock. I love, and then I love like Indian music. I love, just world music all over the world. There's so much music out there. And I'm just like, I love music. And so I just noticed my paintings were changing also along with my musical taste. So I do consider music one of the mediums I use because I'm always listening to it when I'm painting. I have to have music while I'm painting, and I think it does affect, what comes out, because I paint subconsciously. Like I don't go, draw. I don't really like sketch out anything too hardcore. Like with this, there's a little minor sketch, but I didn't like draw out the whole painting I want, because it's not gonna be that in the end. It's gonna be something else. So it's like subconsciously, the work just flows, and it comes to me at that moment. It's very, spontaneous. But yeah, so my artwork started turning more like nature-based, very hyper colors. So you can see like the psychedelic influence in the artwork. It's more of the happier stuff. I try to lean more onto the happy side because there's enough bad stuff going on in the world that, to me, this is like my call to action is like, put something better out there, put something joyful out there, There's enough bad, so I try not to do the skeletons and stuff like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but actually I still do some skeletons. They just have flowers and stuff blooming from their eyeballs and stuff. Right, exactly. So that stuff will always haunt you and be inside you. You're never going to get rid of the skeletons. We're all skeletons. We'll have one.
Thankfully so.
Yeah, I think that's a powerful way to work because humans have such a rigid way of thinking, or thinking that they need to think, or things that they've been told, or, there's all these rules. So yeah, I think that throwing all that out the window and just doing the flip side of what your dreams, whatever your brain is doing something right now. And it wants to flow out of your hand, whether that's through music or through painting or whatever creations you're working on. And it's like a spirit creator kind of thing without the brain telling you what to do. It's really strange and hard to explain, but that's the way I work.
So we've talked a little bit about painting. So let's talk about, the woodworking that you...
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, woodworking. So a couple of years ago, because wood is a natural part of the world, and it's part of nature. And it's interesting because like you look around your house and see, the furniture and all the things that are made out of wood. My bass guitar, your skateboard, wood, and it's like, but we transform them into everything useful that we use. My paintbrushes, made out of wood, So I've always liked charcuterie. I like, because you don't always have time to cook, and there's like cheese and, little things to eat. And it's kind of like art show food, And so I always thought that would be cool to do like charcuterie boards. And that's kind of how it started. It was just, let's make some charcuterie boards. So me and Mike Bird, who lives in Grand Prairie, we started this little woodworking business. He had some tools in his garage, and we decided to, look up some YouTube videos. How do you do this, and how do you pour resin and all that, and started making boards and selling them. Just simple, but fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the name? Do you have a company name?
Yeah. So we're called Tigerbird Woodworks. and we work out of Grand Prairie, and we do like markets around DFW, and yeah, it's fun. We're trying to like think of new ideas all the time for, okay, we've done charcuterie boards, we've done serving trays, what else do we want to learn how to, it's basically like, what do you want to learn how to make, and let's just try it and see what it does, so just, kind of a fun side gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, where, people might have seen your work, like in public places.
Okay.
And,
trying to think.
murals or
Right.
anything that you...
So you may have seen me at the State Fair of Texas because I've been there like 3 years in a row. I have a booth there in the Women's Museum usually every year. Last year I got to do the Acura painting of the cars that were outside. It was like a competition between me and like 4 other artists, and we had like 5 days to paint an Acura. So you may have seen me there. I do have a mural in Oak Cliff, but it's like a weird little neighborhood. I would have to like give you the address to like find it. It's an Airbnb, but it's a cool like Frida Kahlo mural. I was really active like 2013 to 2019, maybe doing gallery shows. Did some like a solo show in San Antonio. I got to go to Brooklyn, another show in California. But mainly, I mean, here, I'm still like, I feel like I'm still like working on a body of work to show. But I've done like RO2, Kirk Hopper Gallery, several galleries that were, nice galleries. But right now I'm just at a place in my life where I need to create a whole body of work because my paintings, they sell. So I don't have anything stacked up. I see other artist studios and they've got like 50 paintings. I'm like, that's cool. I don't have that, which, I mean, they're like, well, but you're selling them. Well, that's cool too. But like, if I want to show, I'm kind of spending like half a year or a year to like get all, ready. So, and there's never time to get ready because I'm busy working or, doing life stuff, making charcuterie boards. But yeah, so the goal right now is to create a body of work because I want to have more shows on the radar. I'm supposed to be talking to the Kessler about doing a show this summer. So that's probably going to happen. And I get offers here and there, but I haven't really put anything in stone yet, but I'll keep you posted.
Yes, please do.
Cool.
In fact, so how could people view your work?
So Instagram, I'm going to say, is like the easiest and quickest place to see my work. So if you go to #Gallery Rodriguez, but I also have a website. It's called tigerbeearts.com. And I'm working on, it's almost done, but there's work there to see. Yeah, like right before the fair, my website got totally like eaten up and I had to like redo it from scratch. But so tigerbeearts.com. I am on Facebook, Tiger Bee Arts. So I'm around.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about, as being a woman in art and things like that, your experience with that, and maybe some tips for the next generation coming up.
Okay.
From things, maybe lessons you've learned along the way, or.
It's probably a good time right now to be a woman because right now we're really getting our props and we're really getting lots of opportunities because we are women. I remember being in middle school, my very first art teacher telling me, don't sign your name with your, don't sign it with your name. Sign it with your initials so that they don't know if you're a man or a woman because they were really like prejudiced against letting women into art shows or whatever. So I started signing my name P. Rodriguez. I still do that just because it's a habit and because that's my signature. But now you can fully embrace signing your name if your name is Sarah, Maria, or whatever your name is, So I think it's probably you're in a better time now as, youth or women to have these opportunities because they weren't always there. And my advice to just artists in general, that's a good question because there's so much to tell you. Develop your voice. because that's what's going to set you apart from everybody else. You may have to duplicate and copy until you get your skills down, but then find your voice. Find what really resonates with you. Block out what other friends are doing and follow your path. I feel like I've developed a style and people go, that's a Patricia Rodriguez, because that's what I did, you know. I was into graffiti and I was into all these other little, you know, stimulus and other things that you can kind of see in my work, but it's not a direct rip-off or duplication of anything. When people see my work, they recognize it. So I would say develop your voice, put in the work, because no one's just going to hand you opportunities. If you're an artist, say it loud and say it proud. Always be out there letting people know that you're an artist, because that's how people find you, you know? People are like, how do you get all these opportunities? Well, I'm always like, I'm an artist. Look at my paintings. And so when they think, I need some art, she's an artist because I've been yelling it, you know? So that's really some basic advice. Is like, be proud of what you are, do it all the time, and ignore detractors, ignore, you know, the things that are telling that you can't, or, you know, just do it. Just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. That's a great slogan because it's true. That's how you get anything.
So how many days a week would you say you paint?
Not enough. Yeah, unfortunately, I have so many things going on. That's another thing. It's like, if you're lucky enough to have time, take advantage of that. Because, like, you know, when you're in college or you're not having to deal with all the bills and paying rent and everything. That's high time to be painting and creating and finding who you are. Because when you get a little bit older and you're having to do like work and, you know, split your time between all these things, you know, the artwork suffers. So you squeeze it in, though, you know, in the morning, in the night, after work, wherever you can get some time, because you have to. You know, it's not like a choice. It's kind of like you're possessed. You have to get it out. So hours, not enough. That's my answer. Not enough.
But I like that feeling of, like, you know, you feel like you're possessed to create.
You are possessed to create, yeah. It's like, it's not like you chose to be an artist. It chose you, you know? That's how it feels to me. I don't know how it feels to you, but, like, I can't imagine myself working in the corporate world. I can't imagine myself doing anything other than this. I think I'd be so miserable, you know? And not me, you know? That's the other thing is, like, if you have that gift, that is your calling. So many people don't know what their calling is. So many people are just, you know, out there being wage slaves, which is nothing wrong with that, because we need people to fill the spots. But if you have that little special thing inside you that's like, create. We need creators, you know, that's important. So follow that. Like, I think we like to see at the end of the day something that was made, something that was created, you know? Like, I've had those jobs where you just go and you punch in and you're retail or whatever, and then you leave and you're like, there's nothing to show for the day. Where is the big, beautiful painting? Where is the, you know, the music? Or, you know, what? You don't feel like you offered anything to the world. Like, and that's why I quit my job too. Like, when I got hurt, I was like, I don't feel like I'm offering anything to the world. I'm tucked in a basement doing shipping and receiving, mailing boxes to people. No one knows me. And this thing inside me is like, it hurts. Like, I need to let it out. So I quit my job after I got hurt because I was like, life's too short. I broke my back. I'm going to give it a try. I saved up $5,000, which was not enough. But I did. I jumped, left my benefits, and I've been going at it ever since. I just decided that's what I needed to do in life. And it's been so rewarding because I've had so many opportunities. Like, got on Good Morning Texas. I got to, do the Acura car. I got to work with Lexus. I got to work with Red Bull. I got to do South by Southwest posters. I got to, go to Brooklyn and meet, an art editor, and just like so many opportunities, just like, and so many people. And then like, people are so happy when they buy one of my paintings, like joyful, like this, in my house makes me happy. So it's like, I really feel like that was my gift and that was what I was meant to do. So even though, I gave up benefits and all the perks money. That was like, that was like the best thing I ever did. Quit your job. Quit your job if it sucks and you just can't stand it. You know, that's something you can't buy, you know?
No.
You can't buy that happiness, you know? Like, yeah, I mean, I hardly make much. I make, you know, month to month. There's no like big grand vacations. There's no fancy car in my driveway. But I traded, you know, maybe a trade-off that you're making less money, or, you know, that your life is not as nice as it was. But having that happiness and having that joy and having that fulfillment that you know, made a difference in the world to someone else, you know, or many people, that's like, you know, something you can't buy.
No, that's awesome. So would you say that you feel more fulfilled now than?
Definitely more fulfilled. Yeah. Yeah, because I do believe, like, if you have a gift that you're not sharing, that's when you get mad and grumpy and resentful, and then you're mean to other people. You know, you see like the bus drivers who hate their job and they're mean to everyone they meet, and you don't want to be that person, you know. You know, so I feel like, you know, I did what I was supposed to do while I was here, which is paint and make other people, you know, inspired or joyful about it. You know, people are always telling me, like, your work has such a life energy and it makes me happy, and I'm like, you know, who gets to hear that, you know? Who gets to say that, you know, hey, you made someone's day? That's great, you know? Or that you make their day constantly because your work is in their house and it makes them feel good when they walk by their painting, you know? Totally, yeah. And like, you know, like, so many people don't get to experience that, you know?
No.
To affect someone's life, to affect the quality of someone's life. That's a big thing, you know?
It really is.
It's kind of like a doctor, you know, they get to change your life for the better by, you know, making you better when you're sick. You know, it's a feeling like that, like you made a difference to someone. That's a special thing, so don't take it lightly. I want to thank you guys for listening to my inspiring talk today. I hope it's helpful to you in your journey.